Hello there, it's time for reading chapter books. Yippee! So excited. Always a pleasure. I know that we are just moving through these books so fast. It's incredible and awesome because I love reading. I especially love reading to you. And I love that you have been listening and paying attention and creating those visual pictures in your brain, because in chapter books there aren't pictures on every single page. So this is really good practice, and I hope that for those of you that haven't been listening to chapter books at home, that maybe this will be the beginning, or if you're ready to read chapter books, this would be the beginning as well. You can find all kinds of chapter books out there. Chapter books for boys, chapter books for girls, chapter books for both boys and girls, chapter books about science, chapter books about animals, chapter books about mysteries, chapter books about just about anything you can imagine. Seriously, there are so many chapter books. I have been having so much fun ordering chapter books to read aloud to you. It's just been such a pleasure. And I just love it. After the school year is over and I don't have you to read to, I don't know, I may have to read to Kate and Buster, or maybe Austin if he'll have me. Okay, so we have read all the way up through chapter 12. We have read a lot of chapters. In fact, we've read 78 pages in this particular book, which is quite a few. I wonder how many 10s are in a 78. Ooh, that's right. There are 7 10s in a 78. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. 7 10s. How many 1s are in a 78? Let's see. Oh, I think I know. Okay, I think it's this. Is this correct? Nod if it is. Yes. All right. 78. Here we go. We're starting on page 79, chapter 13, Mom. That's exactly how it says. It's got an exclamation point at the, after Mom. That means I've got to use excitement or some kind of a voice that's different from a sentence that ends in a stop mark or a period. My eyes flew open and I looked around. The reptile book had fallen out of my hands. Oh, let's review. I'm sorry. I'll go back. So Zoey fell asleep in her chair, trying to read up on, she was reading through the rest of her mom's reptile book, trying to figure out what to do to help her friend Sassafras. And she wanted to make sure he swallowed a fish in one gulp. Remember, she did her experiment. And then he tucked his tail in between his, under his head, it says, and closed his eyes and went back to sleep. And she hoped that the fish nap would do the trick. It was breaking her heart to see Marshmallows sick. So Sassafras bumped her chin because he was also very worried. So she decided that she would read through the rest of her mom's reptile book while she was while Sassafras was sleeping. So here she is. She fell asleep. Remember, Sassafras fell asleep too. So let's see what happens next. So sorry. Chapter 13. My eyes flew open and I looked around. The reptile book had fallen out of my hands. Sassafras quickly snored on my chest. I must have fallen asleep while I was reading. I heard my dad calling my name. Huh? Was it dinner time already? Sassafras and I ran into the house and looked around confused. Is it time for dinner? Dad laughed. Did you forget that your mom was coming home today? Mom's back, Mom's back, Mom! I ran to her office, hugged her, and then burst into tears. I messed everything up, I said. There was a baby dragon, and I wasn't sure what was wrong. I fed him marshmallows, and at first he got better. But then he got so much worse. I tried to fix it by feeding him fish, but I don't know if it worked. He went right back to sleep. I don't want him to die, I sobbed. My mom knelt down and looked me in the eye. Oh, Zoey, you must have been very worried. But magical animals are much tougher than you think. Let's go see how he's doing. So here's her mom giving her a big hug and reassuring her. That's what we do. If we're sad, scared, afraid, hungry, tired, we need to tell someone so they can help us problem solve. And also just saying it out loud helps. She cried because she finally got to share her concerns with her mom, and she was crying because her mom was home, and that always helps. Plus, she didn't want to mess up her treatment of Sassafras. So guess what? I am going to keep reading because that chapter was so short. That was chapter 14. That was chapter 13. So let's go on to chapter 14. Chapter 14, bigger, but there's no exclamation point. She just wrote it pretty big. All right. Got a prediction in my head about what's going to get bigger. I'm not going to tell you my prediction because it's my prediction. But why don't you think about your prediction of what you think might get bigger? Or is she going to feed bigger food? Is she going to get bigger? What's going to happen? Let's see. Let's read and see. Mom walked me out to the barn with my arm around me. And I hoped I could handle all this on my own. I really wanted to impress my mom with a super healthy dragon. Instead, she was going to see a sick dragon that I hadn't been able to help. We walked into the barn and I stopped. I rubbed my eyes. Whoa! Marshmallow was walking around. He had bright eyes, and he was at least twice as big as he'd been this morning. Ooh! How did that happen? Dragons must grow really quickly. Sassafras was about to walk into his pen, but froze. I think he was also so shocked to see how big our little guy had gotten. Marshmallow trotted over and nuzzled Sassafras, who purred loudly. The two of them jumped around and played while I stared in awe. Mom squeezed me in a big hug. Zoey, I'm so proud. You kept trying even when things got hard. How about we leave these two to play and see if we can convince your dad to part with some more fish? Just like that, the day went from awful to wonderful. I did it. Even though I made mistakes along the way, I helped Marshmallow. Check it out. Whoa! He's so much bigger from the one fish. That's so impressive. But remember, he's a magical animal. So magical animals do things that we can't even imagine. Well, that chapter's over too. What? Okay, I get to do this. I'm going to read a little bit more of chapter 15. A little bit more. I'm going to read a little bit of chapter 15. I'm not going to read the whole thing because that would be too much in a day. But I'm too excited. Okay, so let's listen to a little bit more. We'll go into chapter 15. Learning to fish. Sassafras and I were out in the barn playing with Marshmallow. Only a few days had passed, but Marshmallow was about the size of a horse. What? Sassafras liked to jump on his back between his wings. Then Marshmallow would run in circles around the pen until Sassafras started to fall and jumped off. Marshmallow always stopped to sniff and make sure Sassafras was all right. I wanted to remember the way they played together forever. Oh, I'd never taken my photo of Marshmallow. I dashed off to get the camera and got an action shot of the two of them together. Mom came into the barn and looked at the photo of Sassafras riding Marshmallow. At first she laughed a lot, but then she got really quiet. Here it is. Okay, so I'm going to stop our story there. I told you I was going to read a little bit of chapter 15 and save the rest for the next reading. And this is how I came to that conclusion. I counted how many pages were left between chapter 13 and the end of the story. And there were about 15 pages, something like that. So I took the middle road of that and I tried to divide it equally. So what that means is I'm going to be reading chapter 15 to the end, but it's not that long, right? Oh, well, maybe it's longer than I thought. Oh, I know. And then chapter 16, the chapter after that, is really short. So I was going to finish chapter 15 and also read chapter 16. Would that be good? Thumbs up. I'm agreeing with you. I think it would be amazing. So look forward to me finishing chapter 15 and then reading the next chapter 16, which is super short. Okay? Okay. All right. So here's my virtual hug to you. Here's my love to you. And let's do our positive affirmation. Are you ready? Here we go. I am smart. I am kind. I am honest. I am silly. I tricked you. I didn't do a funny face. I am brave. I am loved. So I am so happy that I got to read to you today. And I loved every minute of it. And I loved how in the story we got to see some of Zoey's feelings, because we've been talking a lot about feelings. Feelings happen all day long, and even characters in books have feelings, right? So it's important to express your feelings. And even though I smile when I'm reading to you and when I'm talking to you, that doesn't mean all day long I was smiling. For sure, no. I have ups and I have downs. And I have been practicing acknowledging my feelings because it's really, really important to acknowledge. So have a great day. I know that I love you to pieces. All right. Bye-bye.